All right, let's take a look at the voiceover tool. So your voiceover is always going to start recording where your cursor is in the timeline. So let's say we wanted to start recording some voiceover right about here. We'll leave the cursor there. So to bring up the voiceover tool, you simply hold down Option Command 8. Now that's a little bit to remember, and I use the voiceover tool so often, I generally assign it to one of my shortcuts on my gaming mouse. But when you bring up the Record VoiceOver tool, you'll see it's fairly simple. You have the meter on the top with the record button. You have your input gain that you can change if you'd like. You have your name where you can title it. We'll go ahead and just title this VoiceOver. You have your input where we've selected our Scarlett interface over here. You can do a built-in microphone right on your computer if you'd like. You can choose to monitor it or not. That's the gain for the monitor. I usually do not select countdown to record unless I'm working with an actor who needs a countdown of some kind. Mute project while recording is sometimes a good idea so you don't get the sound of your recording in the background necessarily if you're not using headphones. And create audition from takes I generally always do, especially when I'm doing blogs, tutorials, recordings like that. That way you don't get stacks and stacks of different layers of audio in your timeline, but a single container of which all of your takes are contained within, an audition container. Then you can go through those takes one at a time, delete them accordingly, and finally make your decision. For event, we're just going to put it into media over here. And for roles, I like to actually then explore. We'll go over here to edit roles, yet another place where you can do this. And let's go ahead and add an entire audio role, not a sub role, but an entire role. Go ahead and we'll type in voiceover and we'll go apply. And there you are. We'll go and select that for that role now. And now we're ready to go. So when you click record, you'll see over here on the timeline that the voiceover has started to be created. Now I wish the waveform was actually written in real time like in GarageBand or some other tools, but unfortunately you have to hit the stop button for the waveform to be written. But you'll see here we're hitting a really nice even level with the voiceover right now. But now let's say we wanted to do another take right away. You'll see the cursor has already gone back to the beginning. This is because we had the create audition from takes selected. Go ahead and hit record again. And away we are to the races for our second take. You'll see that the little voiceover 2 has now been added to it from the first one, which was a 1, and you'll see that the little audition symbol has popped up on the waveform. Go ahead and hit stop, and you'll see once again if you hit this little button you can go back and forth to your different options and you can solidify them when you are done. The last thing I'll say is that if we go back over here to edit roles, it generally is a good idea for voiceover and for dialogue to be adding different sub roles for different actors. This is because at the end of the day you are going to be creating different EQs for different voices. So you might as well start threading those needles now. That way it's easier on your post team later on. Now as far as turning audio over to a sound team, unless they're editing natively in Final Cut Pro, you're going to have to find a way to get them in AAF. There are numerous ways to do that, but generally the best course of action is to make a cheap purchase of a great program called X2 Pro, which will basically convert your Final Cut project into the appropriate metadata to be sent over to Pro Tools, which is considered the industry standard for doing film editing. Now the great thing is if you handle your roles and your sub roles properly upon export from X to Pro, it is said that it can be some of the smoothest audio turnovers that audio technicians can get. Well, that's it for audio for right now. Let's hop forward into video effects before circling back around to audio effects.